Welcome to today's episode of Pathmonk Presents. I have a very interesting guest with me joining today. Please welcome Ari Block, renowned marketer, startup mentor, speaker, and writer. Ari, it's an honor to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me on today's show.
It's the pleasure is all mine. Thank you, Maria.
Absolutely. So just to dive into it, so give us an overview as to what your company does.
So I run a venture studio called Think, and one of my companies is called Emma's Magical Garden, and it has this wonderful story because actually the founder is my daughter, and she's 9. And what happened is I got this aquaponic unit because I've always wanted to grow. I cook a lot, like I'm an aspiring chef with an emphasis on inspiring, but my food's good. People like it, and I got this unit, and I grew myself some holy basil, and also a tomato, whatever plant. And the tomato got large, and my daughter comes and she got so excited she wanted to eat one of the tomato plant leaves, and I said, no, you can't. It's a leaf. It's not. And my wife is standing right there, and she's like, yes, you can. And I'm like, no, am I cursed? Way. And then my wife Googles it and says, oh, you can eat it. So I'm like, fine. Google's always right. There's no lies on Google. Sorry. So she jumps up with zest, and our like counters are high. She jumps up to the counter, pushes herself with her left arm, tears a leaf and eats it. Now, at this moment, I'm like, huh? What just what happened there? But then what happened is, like, next day, like, I wake up super early and I use this time to think, and I'm like, she ate a tomato leaf, and like almost on a nightly basis, I'm shouting at her, and I feel like a shit father to eat her veggies. Sorry, I'm gonna try not to curse. It's really hard for me. And I curse in front of my kids, no worries. So I'm like, eat your veggies, and here she is. So kind of forget about it. Next thing that happens, and she named it like it was Bob and something, like her seeds were named, and she named it. And then I knew nothing about endowment effect at the time. And I'll explain what endowment effect is in a moment, but I knew nothing of the psychology of endowment effect, but she named the plants. And then, okay, a few weeks pass, the plants, more than a few weeks, it grows. And now we have this whole garden, like it's massive. We can add some pictures. My son says the following thing: we made salad. He says, is that ours or is it from the store? Because if it's from the store, I don't want to eat it. And that's when it hit me. So this now they're eating veggies. I don't need to shout at them. The downside is it's only our veggies. That's the downside. But hey, I'm a happy camper. So that's Emma's Magical Garden. And I'm the CFO, and mom is the CMO, and Emma's the CEO. And it doesn't mean what you think it means. I'll let you figure that out on your own. Okay, father, mom, and Emma officer.
Oh, I love that. And that's a really touching story too. Really love that, honestly. Now, for like your product, what problems do you solve for your clients, and, who are your clients overall?
Yeah, that's such a wonderful question. As you know, I'm not technically a marketer, but I do a lot of marketing work with my portfolio companies. And the questions that I always ask is that, right? Who is your customer? Like, can you please describe them? Like, male, female, how old, where do they live? What do they like? What do they do for fun? Right? Psychographic, demographic, value graphic. Like, if you don't know what value graphic is, you need to educate yourself. Super important. David's a friend of mine. Go research him. So let me now answer the question that I answer or ask. Sorry, who is your customer? And simply put, our customers are kids. It's the next generation, and it's the next generation that is at play, not at work, at play, figuring out their relationship with healthy food. And everybody is trying to stop them from figuring this out, right? McDonald's is making, junk food so cheap that you know, and you know, junk food is makes you full, right? Like you can eat it and you'll feel that you're full. But if you eat a salad, you're not full. And a salad is actually really expensive. So everybody's working against these kids. And they're just not eating healthy food. And you know what? It doesn't taste as good as McDonald's, right? So this is a huge problem. We call this in the kind of academic, you know, we call this the nutritional desert, right? And these food deserts or nutritional deserts, they're all over the United States and the world. And it's due to what we call in academic language, consumer preferences, supply and demand, which is really talking to the microeconomics of the products. And that's who we're serving, kids. It's the next generation.
No, interesting. Very good. Very good. Now, what would you say, you know, of your, you know, website for the product? You know, what are the major strengths, you know, overall?
Yeah. So look, you know, this whole thing came together in the last couple, you know, very short time. So we don't have a website, but we do have a Facebook page. So people ask me, Hari, why do you have a website? No website, but you have a Facebook page. And then you tell me you have landing pages on your website, but you have no website. So how does that even make sense? Okay, so here's the thing, here's the trick. When you think about your persona, which we just talked about,
yes,
you think about your, right, or ICP sometimes we call that, right? Ideal customer profile, right? When you think about your ICP, your persona, you think about basically creating a journey for them. So the question is, what is that journey? So now you're working at the strategic level. So when I work with my entrepreneurs, I tell them, describe the journey that your ICP or persona is going to go through. Now, if that journey doesn't include a website, you don't need one at this stage, right? So actually, our journey right now starts with Facebook and LinkedIn, and we're going to add on more social media. And then there's an education phase. So we're still there. We're still grooming that educational phase. And then when we start converting, we're going to have a landing page. Now there's going to be multiple landing pages. Most of them are going to be invisible to the public. There'll be one landing page that is public, and that's on emmasmagicalgarden.com. What that landing page will include is just one page. Like there will be no scrolling. It's a landing page, and there will be a conversion mechanism. And these are the key tenets of, we can talk about this more if you like, but like, these are the philosophy that I have behind web design, conversion, and you know, how to make a successful customer journey with incredibly high conversion rates.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. No, I agree with you 100% on that. Now we're going to switch gears and we're going to talk about you as a leader. So, you know, what does your work look like for you on a daily basis?
First of all, it's figuring out if I need to travel somewhere that I did not know about yesterday. So unfortunately, my you know, LPs and investors will be like, Ari, we need you in New York. And then it won't happen. And then it will happen. And then I'm like, so yeah, my family is not a big fan of my travel. I'm going to say that neither am I. So a big part of it is just figuring out, you know, where am I supposed to be tomorrow or tonight in some cases. And then really, you know, a big part of my job is it's mentoring. And I do this a lot for, you know, for free. And I do this, you know, I'm a Techstars alumni. I mentor Techstars entrepreneurs, and a whole, you know, go look at my LinkedIn. There's a long list. I won't bore you with it. But ironically, what I do for free, I also do, you know, for my company portfolio. And, you know, if you want to be successful and help your entrepreneurs be successful, and you want to be successful as an investor, you can't tell your entrepreneurs what to do. You need to ask them the right questions to lead them on their journey. And you need to be mindful of the fact that it's their journey, not yours. And it might not end up, you know, where you want it to end up. And that's totally okay. So my day-to-day is like, I'm like a psychologist, you know, I didn't curse there. Almost did. I didn't. I'm like a psychologist. You know, I'll have them, you know, this is my office. It's a couch. And I'll, I'll ask them, well, why is that? Not how does it make you feel, but that's the gist of it. And the really successful entrepreneurs, they will grow and learn and become more and more, and so will their companies together with them as people. That's the incredibly successful. One of my early entrepreneurs just raised many millions of dollars. His company is Biolumix. Doug is an incredible entrepreneur, and he's doing amazing stuff in the biotech field. I don't understand any of it, but I know that it's got something to do with jellyfish genes and basically identifying new drugs using the quality of splicing a jellyfish gene with, I didn't even know. And then it basically lights up when he finds potential drugs. So I've completely butchered his company. Google Biolumix and read the science, because I'm not a science guy. Not that type of science. I'm a science guy, but not that type of science. So yeah, Doug was one of my first entrepreneurs. And, he came to me and he said, oh, Ari, I'm going to hire a CEO. And I asked him, Doug, why do you want to do that? And it was like, I know nothing about being a CEO. So I told him, well, Doug, it's the easiest job in the world. And, I'm like, I think you can be the CEO. So we talked about it for an hour and I asked him questions, asked him why and what and when and what does he need? And he had a candidate and I asked him, well, what does this candidate bring to the table? So I asked a lot of questions. I didn't give him answers. And then by the time he was kind of done and I was done, I said, Doug, let me give you a recommendation, something I don't do often. Do not hire this person. Be the CEO yourself. If you want to hire him later, that's fine. I will be here to help you. Right. I'll be here to ask you questions. If that's any kind of help, I think it is. And thank me in 5 years. Like, call me back, say, Ari, thank you. And he did. It happened recently. So 5 years have passed, and he's blessed. He's his family is growing, and he raised millions of dollars, and he's the CEO.
Wow.
And he's like 20 something. Like he's yeah, I mean, maybe is he 30 already? I don't know. But like, I don't want to say he's a kid, but he is a kid. Like, I'm almost double his age, right? But I believe in him. And he needed somebody to believe in him, I think. I'm just guessing here. And I think once, when you believe, when people believe in you, it helps you to believe in yourself. And I think that's a little bit of the service that, Think Ventures, Venture Studios gives. It's believe in people, because the companies are worthless. It's the people. They are priceless.
No, definitely. I agree with you. And, with all of the mentorship, with helping your colleague and leading him with this decision, as you were saying, like doing what a psychologist does. So I think that's really incredible, and like to see the outcome of that. That's like the biggest reward ever.
That's right.
Now,
I only wish I took equity from Doug. I was, I was complete, like Doug was a volunteer thing. So I have no equity in his incredibly successful company. And I got to tell you, I'm kicking myself. For every successful investment decision I make, I must make 100 bad ones and those are investment decisions where I decide not to invest. And I'm sure a lot of my not to invest decisions were, stupid. And the entrepreneur was a success. So I didn't know anything about life sciences. I still don't. And I was like, I'm not investing in life sciences because I don't know anything about this. I should have. But in retrospect, you shouldn't invest in stuff you don't know anything about. So it was a good decision. It was the right, no, it was a bad decision, it was the right decision. Sometimes those things, can be both true. Two things can be true.
Yeah, absolutely. Now with, going on to my next question. So with, making one bad decision and one good decision, as you're explaining. So, what would be the main thing that you're focusing on right now? Would it be, product releases or, right.
Yeah, so absolutely product release. Like, this is our product over here. And it's a AI powered toy. Now I use the, toy word, but because it is a toy, it's a toy for kids, and kids play with it, but it's also an educational toy. So kids learn how to grow their own, vegetables, herbs. I call them weeds, but we call those like cabbages, because they grow so fast.
Yes.
Cabbages and lettuces and all these things, they just grow so fast. They're like weeds, edible weeds. And we need to get this out in less than 6 months. And you can talk to it. It's a toy, and children will talk to it. And the toy, we need to give it a name. I'm not sure what that will be yet, but the toy will guide you and explain to you how to grow these plants. And it will help you maintain the plants. And it has a camera, so it will, take photos of the plants, and you can share it on your Facebook or whatever, if you're of, appropriate age, because some of these kids are. I had a customer last week using one of the prototypes. She's 4. So obviously no Facebook for her, but for our older, I was at a different customer in Chicago last week. These are all MVP customers, right? So a different customer a couple of weeks ago, actually, and in Chicago, and she is 9 and her sister is 6. So maybe also too early for Facebook, but it can take these photos. You can share it on your Facebook. It can share with you to your email, to a smaller private circle, your friends, your family, and it shows you how the plants are growing. But the artificial intelligence will also identify, do you have a problem with the water? Do you need to add nutrients? But the thing that I love most of all is it will talk to you, and it will say, hey, let's plant the seeds. It will instruct you on how to plant the seeds, on what to do. And then the next thing it will do is we'll ask you to name the seeds. So my daughter's first 3, plants was Bob. I can't remember. One of them was Bob. She'll remember. She has this emotional attachment. And I was talking at the beginning about this thing. It's called endowment effect. And it turns out, and we're doing research on the impact of endowment effect and healthy eating and food deserts. So this is research that's going to start pretty soon. But the idea behind endowment effect, which is a strongly established scientific principle, is that when you own something, you create a bond with it, right? And that bond has incredible power. So I don't want to get too geeky and psychological here, on the audience, but endowment effect is an incredibly powerful tool for marketeers. And we're using it to change the world and fight food deserts. But if one of the things that I love to talk about, and we won't have time today, is what we call biases. And biases sounds like a bad thing, but there's over 100 psychological biases. And you can use these biases in your storytelling, because I think that's what marketeers are. They're storytellers, in order to create amazing marketing. But you have to almost be a amateur wannabe social, a scientist.
Yeah, absolutely. That 100%. Well, Ari, we're coming to the end. I want to thank you for being on the show with us today. And I want to give you the last word. If someone forgets, everything that we have talked about, what is one thing that you want them to take away?
Oh, that's difficult. Okay. Let me do something. I want to remember this because I want to get it accurately. Let me Google something for a second.
Yeah, of course. No worries.
Okay, I found it. Let me just open it up. Okay, so let me tell you the biggest lesson that I learned. Okay, I just need to see this because I can't see it. Okay, let me give you the biggest lesson that I learned, and the biggest mistake that I've made in my career. So early on in the career, and I'm talking like 20 years ago, I learned this lesson because I sold my first company when I was 15. Incredibly successful. It's a terrible thing to be successful if you're first startup, because then you think it's easy, which it's not. And I thought it was easy, and I did it almost on my own. My brother and I did most of the work, so I was like, this is easy, and I can do it on my own. And then I fucked it up. Sorry, big time after that with businesses. And what I learned is, I think, a core tenet of this poem. So let me read it out. It's by one of my favorite poets. who wrote The Giving Tree. But this is another one of his, of Shell's. I'll swing by my ankles. She will cling to your knees. As you hang by your nose from high up trapeze, but just one thing, please, as we float through the breeze, don't sneeze. So, you know, that's my key learning, right? Like, it's about being a team player, right? It's about, you know, there's three people, you know, by the nose, by the, you know, we should, and it's delicate. There is such a delicate thing that bonds us. Like, the bond between people is delicate, and the amount of mutual respect that is needed is huge. You know, I am not ashamed to say that I've made many mistakes. And, you know, these are my key learnings. One is respect, and the other is teamwork, and they go together. It's all about people. So if you go to Think COIL and you look at my, you know, venture studio page, that's what we talk about. We talk about people, and these bonds that tie us are so delicate that even if you sneeze, you can break those bonds. So, you know, you can mess them up intentionally, you can make mistakes, but you can also inadvertently, by the forces of, you know, you sneezed and now you've fallen from this trapeze. Okay, sorry, that rhymed not intentionally.
But it was great.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
have it. So people.
No, amazing. Thank you so much. And I agree with you. It's especially now with, you know, in this day and age, it's really important to cultivate
That's
very
right.
healthy relationships and to be very mindful too as well.
That's right.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
couldn't agree. A lesson hard learned, for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We all learn it. All right. Well, Ari, thank you so much again. And for our
Thank you
listeners,
for having me.
absolutely. And for our listeners, tune in to next week's episode. Bye.